laying eyes on a Lamborghini in the flesh is something of a religious experience for those of us that pray at the temple of internal combustion. Of course, we're not talking about the Volkswagen Touareg prancing around in Lambo Urus clothes. No, friends, we're talking about Lamborghini's cars. Now, don't get us wrong, the Gallardo and Huracan are killer rides, but they pale in comparison to the almighty V12-powered Lambos that are impossibly wide, low, long, and loud. Countach, Diablo, Murcielago, Aventador. The lineage goes back further, but these four obscene machines really stand out with looks to kill that forever seemed impossible to improve upon. But the Lamborghini secret sauce always brought forth an even more outrageous supercar without fail. And for 2024, they've done it again. But before we get to the latest Lambo wildchild, would you be so kind as to click the subscribe button below? Thank you. Okay, back to empty garage business. So what is this latest masterpiece in Lamborghini's long line of V12 screamers? The Revuelto. And guess what? It's a plug-in hybrid. Yes, it's true. Even mighty Lamborghini has had to acknowledge a future of fuel economy and emissions mandates that don't allow for the flagrant burning of gasoline in the name of V12 fury. But fear not, Lambo purists. While the Revuelto is in fact a hybrid, it's not exactly a Prius Prime. The Revuelto does offer a trivial amount of electric driving and is considerably more fuel efficient than the Aventador. But the Aventador wasn't really known for sipping fuel, so, it's all relative. It's also a recipe that combines to create the single most powerful Lamborghini of all time, as in 1,001 horsepower, with a 9,500 RPM redline. These are numbers that, even in a world of outrageous cars, remain incredible. That output figure alone represents a jump of more than 230 horsepower over the Aventador. How did Lamborghini manage this? Well, they started by heavily revising their trademark 6.5-liter V12 monster motor. And not to worry, fans of freakish power plants, this brute remains naturally aspirated. But it breathes more efficiently on the intake and exhaust ends, and runs at a higher compression ratio than the unit found in the Aventador. All of which brings the horsepower rating up to 814 and the torque figure up to 535. That is serious power all by itself and makes the Revuelto worthy of carrying on the long history of Lamborghini's V12 powered torch, a signature bit of engineering that stretches back 60 years. But in the interest of looking to the future, the Revuelto added a healthy dose of lightning. That lightning comes in the form of 3 battery-powered axial flux motors. The battery pack is small, with a 3.8 kilowatt-hour capacity, but it's enough to spur Lambo's latest bull into an electrified frenzy of computer-controlled automotive insanity. Reports from the field use words like visceral and savage and describe a, quote, declaration of war on segment rivals and Newtonian physics. This is per Mike Duff of Car and Driver, a publication that anticipates the Revuelto will hit 60 miles an hour in 2.3 seconds, the quarter mile in the upper 9s, and a top speed of 218 miles per hour. Sure, the Revuelto is not the only hypercar with these sorts of incredible figures, but how about Lamborghini's note that its latest V12 Bull can go from 0 to 124 miles per hour in 7 seconds flat? That's just a half second off the pace set by Bugatti's Chiron, a car with 4 turbos strapped to 16 cylinders of gas-powered rage capable of more than 1,500 horsepower. Whoa. The 2 axial flux motors that live up front power each wheel independently to enable not only all-wheel drive but ultra-precise torque vectoring. These motors can instantaneously switch from regenerative braking to powering the wheels. Add in the rear-wheel steering, and it's easy to imagine the kind of handling the Revuelto is capable of. Speaking of handling, the Revuelto rides on a semi-active suspension with MagnaRide dampers. And how about those wheels? Measuring 20 inches up front and 21 inches out back, these big beauties are wrapped in Bridgestone Potenza sport rubber measuring 265 millimeters wide up front and 345 out back. For our American viewers, that 345 millimeter measurement converts to 13.6 inches. All that rubber and rim allow room for the kind of stopping power one wants when there is over 1,000 horsepower on hand. The carbon ceramic rear rotors aren't exactly small, measuring 15.3 inches in diameter, but the fronts are positively massive, with a 16.1-inch diameter and beefy 10-piston calipers providing plenty of clamping power. Of course, the all-new carbon fiber monofuselage on the Revuelto will lend a bit of assistance in the handling department. Lighter and stronger than the Aventador structure, The torsional rigidity is up by 25% compared to the outgoing Lambo flagship. And compared to the Murcielago, there is a 100% increase in rigidity according to Lamborghini. Need more? How about the active aerodynamics on the Revuelto? Though the lines in this car are the definition of sex on wheels, there is serious function behind that spectacular form. Air flows with purpose through and around the gaping front maw. The sharp-pointed zigzag side intakes keep that air moving, not to mention the glorious flying buttress rear shoulders that manage to make the rear fenders appear detached from the rest of the car. It's a look that'll stop you in your tracks if the menacing front end with its hooded headlights didn't already. Out back, there's an enormous diffuser that could be a work of art all by itself. Above it sits a pair of center exit exhaust cannons. Further up is an active rear wing that moves in real time to keep that aerodynamic flow moving just right. And of course, beyond all that is a window into the heart of the Revuelto, the mid-mounted 6.5-liter V12 testament to the wonders of internal combustion. Okay, I should probably ease up on the level of froth here, but my goodness, it's just such a spectacular machine, and I want one. I mean, a red line of 9,500 RPMs enabled by a finger follower style valve train a la Corvette Z06, but with 12 cylinders? The mind melts in stupendous awe. And if you want to melt the eyes of passerby, choose carefully from the 400 available paint colors that the Revuelto can be finished with. Neon orange, or Arancio borealis in the parlance of our times, is a popular choice for searing the retinas. But let's not forget Verde Viper or Viola Pacife, with my apologies for butchering the pronunciation. The wild style of course continues into the cabin, which is slathered in suede and leather from head to toe. In here, you're limited to just 70 color schemes, which we're confident should be enough for most buyers. On that note, for those in the market, the 2024 Lamborghini Revuelto starts somewhere north of $600,000. So start saving your pennies. And make sure to call ahead to get yourself on the list, as the first 2 years of production are already sold out. Not bad for a car that hasn't even been released yet. As is the Lamborghini tradition, a famous bull of years gone by is the inspiration for this latest Halo car's name. The story goes that Revuelto was a bull that fought in Spain more than a century ago. Depending on who you ask, that name translates to scrambled or unruly in English, both of which seem appropriate. The past meets future blending of V12 Fury and electrified juice is about as scrambled as a Lambo has ever been. And unruly? The next time you see a nuclear yellow four-wheeled road rocket scream past you wailing at over 9,000 RPMs, unruly will surely be the first word that comes to mind.